Okay, moving on to adding some bullet points and things that we can use to help identify this as a list. So we're almost done this entire brochure. It's looking much better than just text on a page now. We have our images aligned. Remember also, make sure that your images and your text align with those pink lines. That's what they're there for, your margins, to keep everything inside the safe area. And don't forget to make sure that you extend your image to the bleed. All right, so now I'm going to move to this inside panel. And here we have a paragraph, and here we have another paragraph. Then below that we have what's called a list. So what I need to do is create a list out of this particular grouping of text. You can see that the 7 weeks after budgets goes on the next line, but it's not part of, it's not its own individual bullet. Excuse me. So the way to get a bullet list in your text is to go to that handy dandy options tab at the upper right hand corner of your entire panel. Again, the only way this works on the left, this menu, is if you have text selected. So you must highlight and select your text. And then I'm going to go to bullets and numbering. And the first thing I have to do is I'm going to turn preview on. Now notice nothing's happened yet because I haven't chosen a list type, and I'm going to choose bullets. And you can see that it has a default, this massive space between the bullet and the text. So all of that information, the bullet or number position, is here at the bottom. So the tab position is a whole ½ an inch. That's far too much. So I'm going to bring that quite a bit closer. There we go. And I can even change the style of the bullet if I want to. So I can add all sorts of different characters by clicking the Add button. And I can change it into anything in this list based on this font. So, and there are picture fonts, as you know. There are picture fonts that you can download from dafont.com, and you can have some fun with the different styles of type. This is with Helvetica. Look, there's even a happy face and a sad face. There's also this giant square. What happens if I add that and select it? Oh, they're too big. So I'm going to go back to my bullets. But you can see you can add any character to be the bullet or the star of your show, so to speak. So I'm going to go back to the bullet. And under alignments, I want to keep it left. I can create an indent. So if I want the whole thing to indent, see that from the side of the page, I can do that too, and that helps also differentiate the list. I think I'm just going to leave it where it is. So play around with that to see what you're getting with that indent until you get something that you like. And again, it's okay to play on the page to see how things are working. Why not? It's your design. So if you want to play around with that, that's absolutely possible. Now, see this text character? I can turn this into a style sheet. We've worked with style sheets before, but this isn't the place that we usually do it. We usually go under the type menu and we choose character styles or paragraph styles in order to set up a style of how we want our text to look. But in this particular area, we have access to that character style. So I'm going to create new character style, and I'm going to call it bullets. I can go down to the basic character formats, and I can change the font. I can change the size of that font. I'm going to turn preview on here. Oh, it looks like I've turned off my bullets. And I'm also going to change the character color. I'm going to change it to the blue from our logo and click OK. So there it is. I can see what it's looking like. Because I have a left indent, there we go, it's messing up with that. So now that I have a bullet style set up, I'm going to click OK. And I can select this grouping of text, and I'll add bullets to that as well. And select the bullets from the list. OK. Whoops. Problem is it, oh wait, if I choose my new character style called bullets, it should set up everything except for the indent. So I'll have to change my position here. There we go. And click OK. And I have one more to do down here. So bullets and numbering, making sure you choose a style and choose the character style you set up for those bullets so they're all the same. You don't have to set them up individually except for this crazy measurement here. Okay. Now everything fits. We have these lovely bullets in here. If we can zoom in, we can see that we've now repeated the logo color also on the inside here. One more thing I need to do, these are also bulleted points. So because there's a stat in here, these are all bullet points until we get to if you answered yes to any of these questions. So I'm going to put a space here. And I'm going to add, again, back up to the bullet points and add those bullets. I know I want bullet points and I know I want that new character style. And once again, we want this gone here. There we go. Okay. Now you can see I've got bullet points even for my spaces. So I'm going to, let's get rid of that. So every time I hit return, that bullet comes back. So if I hit shift return, it will eliminate that bullet point because a shift return isn't a hard return, but it will add the space you need and eliminate that bullet. So I'm going to do shift returns after each one of these points to be consistent with how this is set up. After every point, there's a space. There we go. If you answered yes to any of these questions, again, shift return. I don't want any hyphens. Now, if I don't want any hyphens, I can select the text, all of the text, and go under the same tab where we found bullets, and we have hyphenation. So I'm going to select hyphenation and turn it off. There we go. Now that it's turned off, I don't have any crazy hyphens in here. Same with reputable. What a horrible break that is. So I'm actually going to take all of these, this text as well, and also remove the hyphenation. And I can turn that into a style sheet if I wish. All right, everything's looking good here. So Control 0, except for I can see that my boxes aren't aligned, so I'm going to make sure those are aligned with all my margins here, so I'm accurate with my representation here of alignment. Devil's in the details, right? So we want to make sure that everything is nicely aligned. And if you have to zoom in, that's Control plus. Make sure that you are aligned with all of your guides. That's key to the unity and organization of this, making this look like a professional piece. All right. I'm going to put this back here. I'm going to move this back up and let's see if it stays inside the box. Yes, it does. All right. Okay. And now I'm going to go to the bottom of my screen. So Control 0 so I can see everything in place. Now I still have room for, let me see, a logo. So I'm going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to click down here onto my pasteboard and paste it. I'm going to move that down here. So now we're talking about the program and we end with the logo of the program. That looks pretty good. All right. And you could fill the space if you want to. So if you wanted to add a photo, the best thing you can do is actually put the photo at the top above text. But because our focus is at the top, we don't necessarily have to fill in this space. So this is still okay because we have a nice balance with the blue at the top and diagonally down here. So our eye nicely moves across the entire page. We've repeated the blue from the logo in the bullets here. So one last thing you could do, yeah, you could, if you really wanted to, and you can add another photo. So just for the purpose of this assignment, I made sure I clicked away so nothing's selected. Otherwise, if I have this text box selected, where's my picture going to go? Inside this text box. And we might not be able to see it because it'll go probably after the text, and we'll get a red alert sign here. I'm clicking away to make sure I deselect, and I will file place or Control D. And where were those? That was in my downloads. So once again, I can take this image. I can take this image. I could find another image that I want to use, but maybe I'm going to click and drag the box I want this to fit in. It's going to be too small. I'm going to drag that down to fill the space. I'm not going to take advantage of the bleed here. And I'm going to fill content proportionately. But what if I only want the hats? No, I think I'll just keep this image here. So I'm repeating this softer image here. I'm repeating that here. Now we can see the whole thing. Now, balance. This is where you could play. You could go, maybe I like the picture at the top. And I'll click and drag the text to the bottom. Do I like that better? Only if I change the leading here or the size of that space will that work, I think. So I can move that down a little bit more. There we go. So if I turn off Control H, whoops, on a Mac, it's a little different. Come back, come back. So under the, so I want to hide, Control colon, I want to hide all my guides, and now I just need to hide my bounding boxes. And as you can see, Command H on a Mac does something completely different. So if I go under my View menu and I want to hide the extra, hide the frame edges, I need that extra character there. So this is a Shift, and this is the Control key on a Mac, or that's the Option key. And here we go. Let's see if this works. Yes, it does. So Command Control H to hide it. So we want to see what it looks like completely finished without all those guides in our way. It's looking pretty good. All right, so the last thing you would do is you would print this off in black and white, and you would check for everything, as well as check for spelling. And checking for spelling is under the Edit menu. You can go down to Spelling, check spelling, and it will go through every bit and piece of this. So the first thing it's looking at is IC. So it should show up. There it is. It's been highlighted here, so we're going to skip that. Conestoga. So always check here, and it always has suggestions here. It will even give you a, see, it's also American spelling instead of Canadian spelling. It will also pick up things that you force onto the next line if it thinks it needs to be, we've already got temporary. If it thinks it needs to be uppercased, it will ask you for that, and it will always pick up names. But that's always good. It's always good to double check the names. So contact, it thinks because we force it on the next line, it has to be uppercase. So those are the things that you can ignore as you go through your text. And again, it's a great way to make sure that names are spelled correctly because it'll pick every one of those up. And as we go through, it will pick everything up. There we go. And oh, we're back to the beginning, so we're done. Now, one thing that looks funny here is the copy was written by students Laura and Prang should go on the next line together. So in proximity, we want to make sure those two are together. All right, excellent. I am now done. So I'm going to turn back on my bounding boxes and my guides. There we go, just to make sure. And I'm ready to rock now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file package my information here. So here we go, package. And why are we packaging? Because I grabbed stuff from my downloads folder, off my desktop, out of another folder on my desktop. So I've got files floating all over the place. So what package is going to do is it's going to, I will definitely say it, we'll ignore this for the printer. So what I'm going to do is I need to package, the PC will look slightly different. I need to package this information. I'm going to save it on my desktop. If you're on a PC at the college, please save it directly to your G drive when you're done. And we can select the presets here. It's usually by default, it's a PDF X1A anyway, but you can set up other, remember those instructions. If you missed it and you wanted to put some stuff here, you can add all that at this last one here. So it's going to copy our fonts, excellent, because we need our fonts. It's going to copy our linked graphics into the folder. It's going to do all these things here. And it's going to include an InDesign, this is a legacy document, so if your printer doesn't have the most up-to-date InDesign, they can still open it. It's going to include a PDF print. All right, we're set to go, man. We're going to package this. And click OK. I wonder where that font is. So this font could be attached to a space, like a return. So that's something I might want to go back and look at, unless the printer's okay with it, and you assure them that, nope, it's nowhere to be found in your document. All right, so it's creating a PDF, as well as creating the package. So one thing I should have double checked is this area here. So where is that? Oh, it's a single character. If I double click, where is it? See, it's an actual return right there. So we can assure the printer that that's okay, and the printer will also check that on what's called pre-flight. All right, so we're good. And now I can close this off, and I have probably a million other things open. And what I'm going to do is double click my new brochure V2 folder. And in here is that wonderful PDF that we need. And there's our finished printable PDF. Awesome. And that's the one you upload to the portal for marking. Wonderful. And there you go. All done.